Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Woodson Coach Doug Craig, whose Cavaliers are in the state semifinals against Oscar Smith on Friday down in Chesapeake. Coaches 24-4 Cavaliers beat a tough Westfield team 71-58 yesterday. Coach, congratulations. Good to see you.
Thanks, Julian. Thanks for having me on again.
Oh, of course. Must I was just talking to West Potomac coach. He said it must be good news if you're calling me.
Yeah, things must have went well.
Must have gone well. Unlike West Potomac girls, Woodson boys won district and region to get to this place. How important is it to bring hardware with you when you're in the postseason?
I think it's at the end of the day, right, you want to win the big trophy at the end. So obviously that's the one of all three of them you prefer to have the state championship. Um, but I think one of the things it does is it kind of validates your season if you're able to put some numbers on a banner for your district or your region. I think sometimes with with kids particularly when they go and they can come back and see that number on a banner. I think that's really important to them. Um, we've done it both ways, like we've won the district, we've won the region, we lost both the year we won the state title. So obviously that was very gratifying to get that. But yeah, I mean, anytime you can win a championship, right, it's always special. You don't get a chance to do it every year, so you want to take advantage of the opportunities when you get them.
Yeah. Well, Coach, what was the game plan going into Westfield? I've seen Westfield a few times this year. Very talented, very deep, but they're obviously a little green, a little young, but a scary team. How did you view Westfield now that you don't have to sandbag? And what was your strategy going in?
No, I mean, I meant what I said before we played them the first time. A very talented team, a lot of guys that can dribble pass, shoot, can create their own shot. They got off to a pretty good start in that game. I think we were down 9-2 in the first 4 minutes. They made some shots. Jamon Price got hit a big three early, and they seemed like they kind of got whatever they wanted. What we wanted to do was really defend as a unit. Make sure we were in the right places. We felt like if we were connected as a group and everybody did their job, we felt like perhaps they would make some errors. They seemed like they were a little bit turnover prone at times. I think that's just their youth. It's that they're playing juniors and freshmen, right? And seniors tend to take care of the ball a little bit more. They tend to take a little less chances, be a little steadier. So we felt like if we were in the right position defensively, that maybe we could force them into some mistakes. And I think offensively for us, we wanted to make sure we controlled the tempo. We didn't want to let them get out in transition. We wanted to make them try to score against our five-man unit rather than, in two on twos and three on threes or three on twos. So, no protecting the ball with no live ball turnovers was important to us. And then offensively, we wanted to just kind of play our game, make sure, everybody touches it, the ball moves, and make sure we took a good shot every time down. I felt like for the most part we did that. I think we only had 6 turnovers in the game. And anytime you can protect the ball like that, you feel like you got a chance to do good things.
Yeah. Well, Coach, were there any surprises? Did it pretty much go to plan? Because by the time I was getting updates, you guys were well ahead and pretty much stayed ahead the whole game. There wasn't a whole lot of drama from the ticker point of view.
Yeah, I thought we got. I mean, our backcourt had a really good day. I mean, Theo Burke had 24. Just seemed like he was able to get in the paint when he wanted to, and get good shots at the basket. He made his 3 pointers. Um, Kalen had a pretty good day. I think he ended up with like 11. He actually missed a couple of layups in the first half where he got fouled. He could have easily had another 4 or 5 points on the board. And actually, our junior guard who starts for us too, who we didn't really get a chance to talk about much about in the pregame, but Ryan Corallo had a really good game. I think he ended up with 15. So I mean, we got 50 from our backcourt, and that's a lot of points in a state. And then Taylor and Limbago did their thing, and I think they both had 6+ rebounds, and I think Noah had 7 assists and Will had 6. So like they just filled in and got those other guys going. But anytime you can get your backcourt to put up 50, I think it's going to be you got a chance to have a pretty successful day. I was happy for Ryan. I think he's been the guy who's been overlooked a little bit for us this year. He didn't make all district or anything like that, although I think he's an all district level player. It's one of those things when you got a lot of mouths to feed. Some guys have to sacrifice shots and numbers, and he's kind of been that guy for us. But he played really well. We were able to in the second half. They had to come out and press us to try to get back in the game, and we were able to break the press. And Ryan was able to be the finisher several times in that situation.
Tell Ryan that I didn't make all district either. And look,
I think as long as we keep winning, I'm betting he probably won't care.
yeah, one day Ryan, you'll have a podcast just like me. What about Kalen Chilton? At this point of his career, probably almost 60 games in, does he still feel like a sophomore to you?
At times, I think like I think the biggest difference between seniors and underclassmen is that seniors generally are pretty consistent. You kind of know what you're going to get from them on a night-to-night basis, where sometimes with the underclassmen, there's a little bit more peaks and valleys. Um, I thought he played really well. He hit a really big three to open up the third quarter when the game was still kind of close, kind of gave us a little separation. I think he had 7 points in the third quarter. Um, I thought he played well. I mean, like I said, he missed a couple of he got to the basket and got fouled and the layups kind of rolled off on him, or he could have easily had 15 to 18 points. Um, I thought his defense was really good. We put him on Stenberger, their point guard, and just basically told him, slide your feet, keep him out of the paint. I think Stenberger was able to get in there a couple times and hit a couple baskets, but he wasn't able to like get in the paint and dominate the game with his distributing. We allowed us to kind of stay home on some of their other guys. And so I thought he did a good job. I think that's the part of his game I've been most impressed with in the playoffs. I knew he could score, but his defense has really stepped up in the playoffs. He seems like he's a little bit more focused on attention to details. Sometimes with the younger players, that takes a little time. So I was pleased. I thought he did a really good job defensively, kind of controlling the penetration of their point guard. And, Westfield kind of thrives on their point guard getting in the paint and spraying it out to their shooters and their scorers. And if you can kind of take that away from them, they have to work a little harder to score.
Yeah. Well, Coach, your prize for winning that game is a trip to Virginia Beach and to see Oscar Smith. Now, I saw Oscar Smith play this year in the Wakefield tournament. Maybe the most impressive performance I saw all year. They beat Potomac that day by 40. First of all, are you excited to get on the bus and take the kids to get a real like state tournament experience?
Yeah, I mean, like I said we talked the other day. I really don't like the format in terms of teams playing on their home floor for state tournament games, and I would feel the exact same way if they were coming to us. I just don't think I think they should be neutral floors. I have no problem with traveling down to their area to play on a neutral floor, but I don't think teams should be playing on their home floor to go to the state finals. That's just me. But yeah, it's I think one of the cool things about when you get to the state tournament is if you're able to kind of travel the area, play in front of different people, see different schools, different styles of basketball. I always think that's a nice reward for the kids. Anytime the kids get to go on a charter bus and drive 3 hours to play and kind of showcase themselves in front of different people, I think it's always a nice reward to the kids, in addition to playing the high profile games, is to get out of your county and play somewhere different. Um, I think obviously that's the idea, right? When they play the state finals at VCU, but we're going to get a chance to do that in the semifinals. And, we made a trip down to 757 earlier this season in December and played, and I know our kids had a good experience. I think they're looking forward to getting down there on Friday and playing a game again. And so, it'll be kind of cool to go to take a bus ride and see something different and do something a little different than what you normally do. Driving nothing against driving over to Robinson to play. We like when we get to play over there in neutral floor because we know they're big games, but it's kind of cool to go somewhere different.
Yeah, exactly. You beat Kings Fork, a very, very talented team. Oscar Smith won the football championship this year. Amazing game against Madison. Awesome game. And it was just in two of their basketball players, I think one starter and one of the guys that comes off the bench, possibly two starters, but definitely the 6'6" kid. He's a D1 prospect. Does football success matter fact that they won the Class 6 football championship, does that have anything to do with this game at all?
Um, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think every school, their culture is a little different. Obviously they've been a football power for a really long time. And I know in basketball they've been knocking at the door here for a state championship in recent years. I think they've been in the state tournament several years now. I want to say like, in the last 8 years they might have been there 5 or 6 times. I'm not 100% sure, but I know they've been close.
Yeah.
Last year I think they beat West Potomac in a really tight quarterfinal game, and then they lost the semifinal. I want to say they've been kind of in this spot a couple of times before. Um, but yeah, I think anytime, I mean, I guess anytime you can bring kids with championship, experience, whether it be in another sport or not, it does help, right? Because those kids have played in really big games and big stages, and they probably are going to be okay with the pressure that comes with a state semifinal.
Yeah. Well, I would describe Oscar Smith as athletic, fierce, very competitive, um, more of an old school team in that they don't really rely on the three pointer that much. They kind of play like a Michigan State. The ball's coming towards the basket. They want to play in transition. They want a full court press. That's how I saw them, but that was back in December. How would you describe Oscar Smith?
Yeah, I mean, outstanding team. I think they're like 27-1. I think they've only lost one game all year. Um, I see a very athletic team, very good defensive team. I think it starts with their defense, particularly they're able to pressure. They full court press, they three-quarter court press. They apply a lot of ball pressure just in the half court on the perimeter, make it difficult for you to get into your offense. They seem to be a team that defensively wears teams down in the second half. I've noticed that in some of their games. Offensively, I think they want to get out in transition. They're very, very good at pushing the ball up the sideline in transition on a make or a miss and just getting it out and getting it up the floor quickly and try to get numbers at the basket. A lot of athletes, they do shoot the ball pretty well. They got some guys that can really shoot, that are good players. Um, you can't just like, sag in and just let them shoot. They're certainly capable of making shots. But they also have guys that can attack the rim. They're a very physical team and they play with a lot of confidence. So, it's going to be a massive challenge for our guys. This is a really good team we're playing. Um, and we'll have to, figure out some things we want to do to try to get them a little bit uncomfortable at times if we can. I think, we're certainly not afraid to run up and down the floor. I mean, we don't like play at a breakneck pace, but we don't exactly play in the 30s either. So, I think we're capable of playing a game if it gets up tempo, but obviously we don't want to just run and gun up and down the floor all night with them. I think, tempo will be important in a game like this.
Tempo and what else are the keys to the game?
Yeah, I think defensively, again, I think similar to Westfield in some ways in that you want to make them have to score against your five-man defensive unit. You want to keep that, try to minimize the live ball turnovers and try not to let them get out 3-on-2, 2-on-1, that kind of stuff, and or even 3-on-3, where there's a lot of space. I think that's going to be, number one thing is protect the basketball. I think well, I feel like when you play down to 7-5-7, those teams down there play a very physical style. I think you have to match that. That has generally been something we've been good at this year. I think we're a physical team as well. And I think, you can't shy away from the physicality that's going to come. And it's going to be relentless. They seem like they're pretty relentless defensively. It's like I said, it's just a really good team. But I think, tempo, being physical, trying to limit the turnovers, make sure you get good shots at the basket. I think one of the things we tell our kids is they don't have to be any more than they've been all year long in anybody we play because I think we have a good team and I think we present challenges to other teams too. So the key is like be yourselves and just make sure we're dialed in and eliminating the mistakes that we can control. You don't want to have mental errors. You don't want to like miss the scouting report on a guy or something like that. So, um, I think that's the key to a game like this is be as sound as you possibly can.
Are you guys going to bring a bus or two of supporters down?
You know, I was in my athletic director's office today, getting logistics about, getting the team down there. I didn't even ask if they were bringing fan buses. I don't know. I mean, it's probably something I'll find out tomorrow. Our seniors were actually out of the building today on the government field trip down to Capitol Hill. So I think they kind of put getting the team organized on the front burner, and maybe they'll do some fan buses. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
Could be helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take all the support we can get.
Yeah, this team, Oscar Smith, they talk a lot of trash, and I'm sure they're fine boys, but they are going to get in your face and talk some trash. Uh, it's going to be a great game, Coach. Last question for you: how would you compare this Final Four to the Final Four that you saw in 2017?
Oof. First of all, that's a really long time.
It is. It
Um,
is.
yeah, I mean, well, so in that semifinal, we saw Lancetown, um, who was the number one seed from that region down there. So it's kind of something that obviously the game was at a super site up here. All the 6A games, the quarterfinals and semifinals were at Robinson. So we were able to kind of get them in our backyard. I think that probably helped a little bit. But another team, very athletic, tough defensively. Um, so we had to play the number one seed from the other region, just like this year. And then the other side of the bracket that year was Hilton, who was the four seed out of one of the regions, and I believe they were playing Western Branch,
Mm.
which was the two seed. So that side was a little bit of like an upset side, a little bit lower seeded side. Um, Obviously, that's not the case this year with South Lakes being the one seed from the northern region and Lancetown, the two from the eastern. So, I think
It's all chalk this year.
it's mostly chalk. Yeah, obviously Lancetown won on the road last night and was able to go to Patriot and win a game. Um, but I think obviously they're an outstanding team. I think they've only lost two or three games as well. So it seems like the four teams that are left are all, pretty good teams. I think you got three one seeds and Lancetown the two seed. So you've got, four heavy hitters, I think. A lot of times it'll come down to matchups and who plays well at the right time. It's so close. My opinion is when you get to these kind of games that the margin for error is so small for everybody that, a good shooting night gets you through or a bad shooting night gets you eliminated. It doesn't necessarily have to be like big things. It's, you miss a couple free throws at the wrong time, stuff like that, or have a turnover, at one time. So it's good. The margin for error is going to be very small, I would imagine, for everybody. And you just have to take care of what you can and play the best game that you can. But obviously, I think four outstanding teams, all teams deserve to be there and are quite capable of winning the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I really appreciate you doing this. Go enjoy your time with your team. This is very special that you're still playing. Whatever happens, it's something really special about the fact that you're having a practice now, and there's very few other teams are able to do that. That's a privilege, and you guys have earned it and deserve it. You're going to have a great time on the bus. Good luck representing us down there. It won't be easy, but I think you've got a great team. No one's been playing better than Woodson the last 2 months of the season for sure. So if anybody can do it, it's definitely Carter G. Woodson. So yeah,
The checks in the mail, Julian. Checks in the mail.
exactly.
Um,
All right,
yeah,
Coach. Well,
no,
look,
we're
yeah,
excited. It should be
look forward
fun.
to talking to you. We'll celebrate the big victory early next week.
Sounds good. I hope to look forward to it.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Julian, thank you.
Yep.